Have you ever felt paralyzed by having too many choices? Like the weight of your own freedom is crushing you? You stand at the crossroads and every path feels equally possible. And that possibility feels like drowning. Most people think freedom means having no limits, no rules, no boundaries, no one telling you what to do. But Simone de Beauvoir understood something darker. Freedom isn't the absence of constraints, it's the presence of responsibility. She called it radical freedom. The terrifying truth that you are the author of your life. Every choice you make creates who you are, and you can't blame fate or God or your circumstances, only you. This is why freedom feels like a burden, because it means you're responsible for what you become, not just your actions, but your values, your meaning, your entire existence. You have to choose it all. So what do most people do? They run. They hide from their freedom. They pretend they don't have choices. Beauvoir called this bad faith, living as if you're not free. Bad faith looks like saying, I had no choice, like blaming your job, your family, your past. It's more comfortable to believe you're trapped. Because if you're trapped, you're not responsible. You're just a victim of circumstance. But deep down, you know the truth. You know you're choosing to stay, choosing to accept, choosing not to choose. And that knowledge haunts you. It whispers in the quiet moments. Beauvoir said we live in ambiguity. Nothing is certain, nothing is predetermined. There's no instruction manual for being human. You're thrown into existence and forced to figure it out. That's the human condition. Some people find this liberating. No predetermined path means infinite possibility, but others find it suffocating, because infinite possibility means infinite responsibility. Every moment demands a choice. Every choice demands justification. This is the psychology of the free person. They feel the weight of every decision, because they know each choice eliminates other possibilities. Each yes is 1,000 no's. Each path taken abandons infinite others. Beauvoir watched people construct elaborate cages to escape this weight. They take jobs they hate and call it responsibility. They stay in relationships that drain them and call it love. They sacrifice their dreams and call it maturity. But these are just stories. Narratives we tell to avoid admitting the truth, that we're choosing our cages, that we could walk out any time, that the lock is on the inside. She wrote about the serious person, someone who adopts ready-made values without question. They follow the rules. They do what they're told. They never ask why. Because asking why means taking responsibility for the answer. The serious person mistakes obedience for virtue. They think following the path makes them good, but Beauvoir knew better. Goodness requires choice. Virtue requires freedom. You can't be moral if you're just following orders. Then there's the sub-person, someone who denies their freedom entirely. They say, that's just how I am. Like their personality is destiny, like their habits are hardwired, like change is impossible for them specifically. But Beauvoir knew this was a performance, a way of avoiding the work of freedom. Because if you can't change, you're not responsible for staying the same. If it's just your nature, you're innocent, blameless, powerless. She saw through all of it. The excuses, the justifications, the elaborate philosophies people build, all designed to answer one question: how do I escape the weight of being free? How do I stop being responsible? But here's what she understood that most don't. You can't escape it. Your freedom isn't optional. Even choosing not to choose is a choice. Even pretending you're trapped is a free act. You're always already free. This is the ambiguity. You're simultaneously free and constrained, powerful and limited, the author of your life and a character in circumstances beyond control. Both things are true. That's what makes it unbearable. Most philosophy tries to resolve this paradox, to pick one side, but Beauvoir said no. You have to live in the tension. You have to accept the contradiction. That's what it means to be authentic. Authentic living means accepting your radical freedom, not celebrating it, not enjoying it, just accepting it. The way you accept gravity. It's not good or bad, it just is. And you have to deal with it. This means taking responsibility for who you've become, not blaming your parents, your trauma, your circumstances. Those things shaped you, yes, but you chose how to respond. You chose what meaning to make. You chose who to be. Beauvoir knew this was terrifying, because it means you can't be a victim of your own life. You're always complicit. Even in your suffering, you're choosing how to suffer, choosing what it means, choosing what to do next. She wrote that we're condemned to be free, condemned, not blessed, not gifted, condemned. Because you can't refuse it, you can't return it, you can't opt out. You're stuck with the burden of creating meaning in meaninglessness. But here's where it gets interesting, where her philosophy becomes practical. She said the only way to bear this freedom is through engagement, through commitment, through choosing something and standing by it, even knowing you could choose differently. This is the ethics of ambiguity. You create meaning through commitment, not because the commitment is objectively right, but because you choose to make it meaningful. You pour your freedom into it. You make it matter. Most people are waiting for certainty before they commit, waiting to know for sure. But Beauvoir understood there is no certainty. There's only the choice to act as if something matters, to treat it as meaningful, to make it real through dedication. This is why authentic people seem so certain, not because they have answers, but because they've chosen their questions. They've committed to their uncertainty. They've decided what to care about in a world that cares about nothing. She knew that freedom without direction is paralysis. That's why unlimited choice feels like drowning. You need to limit yourself, to choose constraints, to say this matters and that doesn't, to create your own structure. But here's the catch. You have to choose constraints that expand freedom, not diminish it. Commitments that open possibilities, not close them. This is the art of living freely, choosing bonds that liberate rather than imprison. Beauvoir applied this to relationships. She said love should expand both people's freedom, not restrict it. If your relationship makes you smaller, it's not love. It's just another cage, another escape from yourself. She lived this with Sartre, a relationship without possession, without ownership, without the usual scripts. They wrote their own rules, not because the rules were better, but because they were chosen, freely, consciously. This terrifies people, because it means you can't blame your partner for your choices. If you stay, you're choosing to stay. If you're unhappy, you're choosing that too. The relationship isn't happening to you, you're creating it. She extended this to all of life. Your career isn't something that happens to you. Your identity isn't something you discover. Your values aren't something you're born with. You choose all of it. Every day, in every moment. This is exhausting. And Beauvoir admitted it. She said the authentic life is harder. It requires constant vigilance, constant questioning, constant choice. There's no cruise control, no autopilot, no rest from being free. But she also said it's the only way to really live, because the alternative is sleepwalking, going through motions, following scripts written by others, dying slowly while pretending to be alive. That's the real death, the death before death. Beauvoir believed that most people are already dead, not physically, but existentially. They stopped choosing, stopped questioning, stopped being free. They became things, objects, moved by forces instead of moving themselves, reacting instead of acting. She called this the spirit of seriousness. When you forget that values are chosen, when you treat your beliefs as facts, when you stop seeing your life as a project you're creating, when you mistake your habits for your nature. The antidote is remembering. Remembering that you're free, that you're choosing, that it could be different. This remembering is painful. It's why people avoid it. It's easier to believe you have no choice, easier to forget you're free. But once you remember, you can't unknow it. The knowledge changes you. You start seeing your choices everywhere, in your smallest actions, in your silence, in your acceptance, in your comfort. Every moment becomes heavy with possibility. Beauvoir said this is when you become truly human, not when you're born, but when you accept your freedom, when you stop hiding from it, when you carry the weight without complaint, when you choose without certainty, when you commit despite ambiguity. She knew that most people will never get here. They'll spend their lives running, building elaborate philosophies to justify their escape, constructing identities that feel solid, creating stories where they're not responsible, where they're victims, where they have no choice. But you can't run from yourself. Your freedom follows you. It's in every breath, every decision, every moment you continue existing. You can pretend it's not there, but pretending is just another choice, another exercise of freedom. So what do you do with this knowledge? How do you live when you know you're radically free? Beauvoir's answer was simple. You choose anyway, you commit anyway, you create meaning anyway. Not because it's true, but because you make it true. You pick your values knowing they're not universal. You love knowing it might not last. You work knowing it might not matter. You care knowing there's no cosmic reason to care. You do it all anyway. Because that's what it means to be human. This is the ethics of ambiguity. Not rules, not commandments, not universal truths. Just the recognition that you have to choose. That your choices matter because you make them matter. That meaning exists because you create it. That's all. That's enough. Beauvoir spent her life showing people their freedom. Not to make them happy, but to make them responsible, to strip away the excuses, to force the confrontation with self, to make people see what they've been avoiding, that they're already choosing. She knew this message would be unpopular. People don't want responsibility, they want comfort. They want to believe they're doing their best, that they had no choice, that it's not their fault, that someone else is to blame. But comfort is a lie, and she refused to lie. She said the truth is you're free, you're responsible, you're creating your life with every choice, and you can't unknow this once you know it. The knowledge is permanent, irreversible. So you have a choice now. You can close this video and forget. Go back to your comfortable stories. Pretend you never heard this. That's a choice, a free choice, and you'll know you made it. That knowledge will follow you. Or you can accept it. Accept that you're free, that you're responsible, that your life is yours to create, not to discover, not to receive, to create from nothing. With no guarantee, in complete ambiguity. That's the authentic choice. Beauvoir would tell you that neither choice is better. Both are free, both are yours. But only one is honest, only one faces the truth, only one accepts what you already know deep down, that you've been free all along.